Former Labor Senator Stephen Conroy. Stephen, good to see you as always. Barnaby Joyce 2.0. What do you make of it?
Oh my God, politics. You got to love it, don't you? Look, I think that Barnaby obviously is a superb retail politician. Everyone will tell you that, and having worked inside the Senate chamber of Parliament with him for years, absolutely the case. What he'll do is he'll give voice to the pretense that they'll protect jobs in regional Australia, and we'll stand up for you to those Liberal parties. So there's a real trap for Labor here. You'll have Barnaby walking around regional Australia saying, I'll save your jobs. You'll have Scott Morrison walking around in those inner city suburbs saying, don't worry, I'll be sensible on climate policy to calm down the inner city Liberal seats. So you'll have the perfect storm. You'll have both sides of the street being walked very competently by Morrison and Joyce. So Labor's trap will be thinking that this division over climate change is going to play for them. It will not. What Labor have got to keep focused on is the incompetence of the Morrison government in rolling out the vaccines. They should be going to New England, going to Barnaby's seat and saying, how many of you have been vaccinated in New England? How many of you have been vaccinated in North Queensland? And the answer will be not many. And Barnaby's position on the vaccine has been very forked-tongued. He's been wanting to say, oh, no, I support vaccine, but, you know, we've got to understand people's concerns. No. Barnaby's position on the vaccine has been very poor so far. So Labor need to focus at the grassroots level.
So is the coalition now more of a threat for Labor with Barnaby Joyce as deputy?
No, absolutely a threat, because he will credibly walk round saying, I will save your jobs. I won't let those Liberals in the cities sell your jobs out for green preferences. And Morrison will do a bit more shuffling than he's been doing. So I think that will actually be a more potent threat to Labor than McCormack Morrison.
So what does this mean for the Hunter?
Well, I think Barnaby can walk into the Hunter and say, hey, the National Party and the coalition will protect your jobs. And we will not let those Labor people come here and sell you out and do all of those policies that will cost you your jobs. And that will be a potent message to Labor, against Labor in Western Australia, in Queensland, and increasingly in the Hunter Valley.
So what does Morrison do now about Glasgow? I mean, can he still take a net zero by 2050 commitment there, or are you starting to lean towards an earlier election so it kind of takes out that problem for him?
Look, I think the vaccine rollout has slowed down the momentum for that early election. I think Morrison will go if the polling says, hey, you can win in October. He'll go in October. Don't believe anything he says about, no, we're guaranteed a May election. If he thinks he can win in October, he is a ruthless political operator, and he will go then. So I don't think, you know, the Glasgow deadline for him will be relevant. I think he will continue to use enough words to say, look, we really believe in zero by 2050, but we think we can get there using all this technology. I think he will not be pushed around on the international stage. He knows it would open up flanks for him. You can't out-green the Greens. You can't out-green Labor. He just needs to sound like he's going to do something about it. And with Barnaby walking around regional rural Australia saying, don't you worry, I won't let Morrison do the wrong thing by you.
So if there's no commitment, though, aren't you going to receive tariffs on our European trading partners?
Look, I think it'll be years before those have any significant impact, and Morrison will keep moving in that direction. I think he'll get enough carve-outs in the negotiations that he will be able to say, I've stood up to the international arguments about closing down industries in Australia. He will work his way through those problems. Those tariff threats may or may not eventuate, but they certainly won't have an impact before the next election.
Okay. What about when it comes to Barnaby? Is there a women problem there? Is there still an issue surrounding that, given his history?
Look, there was rumours of not just the one complaint against Barnaby last time, and I think that complaint was not satisfactorily dealt with by the National Party previously. But there were stories of a number of other complaints. If those complaints resurface in the current climate, I think that will be a challenge. But again, that's a bubble. I don't think that'll change a vote in Gladstone, in Cairns, in Mackay, in Townsville. Seats Labor needs to win. I don't think it'll make any impact in Perth, in the Perth seats that Labor needs to win. And it's certainly not going to make an impact in the Hunter Valley. It'll certainly occupy the Press Gallery. It'll certainly occupy inner city Liberal and Labor seats. But do I think it will impact on Barnaby's overarching message, which is ignore all that Canberra bubble stuff? You know, he'll play the Trump type line. He'll just walk around saying, I'll save your jobs. And people will respond to that more than they'll respond to legitimate issues raised about character.